So let me tell you about my life. My name's Amelia, I'm 29, and I live in this pretty quiet little spot, maybe like a 45-minute drive from Seattle. Every morning, it's the same routine. I brew myself this really strong black coffee, check the weather real quick, and then I just walk over to my office. It's literally less than a block away. My job? I'm one of the people who started this company, Global Neural Healthcare Innovations Group. We do this AI stuff, trying to figure out how to use it in healthcare. It's complicated. Like, try explaining that to someone who thinks working in an office just means typing stuff into a computer all day. My family, bless their hearts, they never really got what I did. Or, honestly, maybe they just couldn't be bothered to try. To them, I was just the oddball younger sister. You know the type. Wore plain clothes, hardly ever put on makeup, always glued to my laptop, or stuck in some meeting nobody understood. Then there's Serafina, my older sister. She's 3 years older than me. In my family's eyes, she was perfection, always. Gorgeous, graceful, spoke softly, just totally charming. Even in old family photos, I felt like I was just a fussy shape standing somewhere behind Serafina's spotlight. Holidays, like Thanksgiving or Christmas, it was always the same scene. Relatives would crowd around her, practically gushing. "Serafina, you look absolutely stunning in that dress." Or, "Serafina, a tech lead, your new partner is so impressive." And me? If they even remembered I was there for a second, it was always this quick little mention. "Oh, Amelia. Yeah, she does. Something with AI." It felt like they talked about me like I was just some tiny note at the very bottom of a page they'd already finished reading. For the longest time, I honestly thought, okay, if I just work harder, if I stay in the background and just carry all the weight, then maybe my parents will finally look at me and be proud, the way they are with Serafina. But nope, never happened. All the attention, all the hopes for the future, all the compliments, always hers. And me, I was always labelled distant, dry, hard to talk to. They had no idea I'd been at the office until midnight, scrambling to fix a huge mess for this public health project that was worth millions. They never once asked what it felt like to build a whole company from nothing with just a few friends from college. When people ask about my family now, I just give this little tired smile and say, "We haven't really talked in a while." It sounds dramatic, but it's not like I'm hiding something. It's just, there's nothing left to say. We haven't properly spoken in over 2 years. No quick texts, no random calls, not even birthday wishes. Just silence. Like a phone line that got cut and nobody ever bothered to try and connect it again. I used to believe your family was the one place you could always go back to, no matter what. But then one day, right before my mother's birthday, that idea just shattered into a million pieces. It was early May. I'd just finished closing this big funding deal with investors in San Francisco. I planned to take 3 days off, fly back home early, help Mom and Dad get ready for her birthday party. Like I always did, nothing fancy, just wanted to pitch in. So I called to tell them I was coming. My father, Arthur, picked up. "Hey Dad, I'm planning to head back early," I said, maybe a little too cheerfully. "Just let me know if you need me to grab anything or help with prep." I can still hear his voice. It wasn't angry, just weird. A short pause. Then he cleared his throat. "Amelia," he said, real slow and cold. "If possible, maybe don't come home this year. My blood ran cold. I froze for a second, thinking maybe he was worried I was too swamped with work. No, it's okay, Dad, I insisted. My schedule's clear. I really want to be there. This time, his voice was firm, unbending. Serafina is bringing her new partner, Reese. He's a lead technologist. He speaks well, clearly very successful. Your job, well, it's hard to explain, isn't it? You showing up would just invite comparisons, make things awkward. It's honestly best if you just stay where you are. I went totally numb. My chest tightened like a vice. This icy feeling just crawled down my spine. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles were white and just bit back the words. Are you saying I make the family look bad? That I shouldn't come home because I'm some kind of embarrassment? He didn't take it back. He doubled down. His words were like a final sharp blow. If you insist on coming, then don't call me your father ever again. And then he hung up. Just like that. No hesitation, no second thoughts. My apartment went eerily quiet. The coffee in my hand was ice cold. I stared out into nothing, like the whole world had just cracked open with that one sentence. I didn't even cry. I just sat there. And for the first time in my life, this terrifying truth hit me. I wasn't actually part of the family I'd been trying so hard to keep together. I just stayed sitting in my usual armchair by the window. The spring sun was coming through the curtains, but it couldn't touch the deep chill inside me. My father's words just kept playing in my head, clear and final. If you insist on coming, then don't call me your father any longer. I looked down at my hands. My fingers were trembling, not from anger, from something much deeper. The breaking point. I always thought, even if they didn't love me like Serafina, at least I was still their daughter. Turns out, I wasn't. I got up slowly and walked to my desk. Didn't even think twice. I opened my laptop and logged into my bank account. For almost 3 years, I'd been sending them money. Every single month, covering their utilities, helping with the mortgage, even chipping in for car repairs. It added up to over $5,500 a month, plus whatever extra I sent when Mum said the furnace broke or Dad's car needed work. They never asked if I could afford it, never. They just said, Serafina's making a career shift, she's struggling right now. If you could help out, dear, that would be wonderful. And I just did it, quietly. Like it was some kind of unwritten rule I agreed to the moment I started making money. I pulled up the transaction history and scrolled down. The total amount just stared back at me, nearly $19,000. My stomach just dropped. Not because I regretted the money itself, but because even after all of that, all the quiet help, I was still not enough. I hovered over each payment. Utilities, mortgage support, car maintenance fund, click, click, click. All these little messages popped up. Auto payment successfully cancelled. No big warnings, no alarms, just quiet confirmations. Just like how I always felt in my family. Unnoticed until they needed something, then just quietly handled it. That night, no sleep. Not because I was mad, but because my mind wouldn't stop. Just replaying everything. My father's words. The gut punch of realizing my family was willing to shut me out just to look good for Reese, a guy I didn't even know. I'd been compared my whole life, sure. But this was the first time I was just publicly told my existence was inconvenient. Mum's birthday came around fast. I didn't call. Didn't send a card. Didn't post anything online. It wasn't about trying to be mean. It was just, I couldn't fake it anymore. At 6:30 p.m, I was sitting on my little patio, sipping chamomile tea, and my phone buzzed. It was Mom. I just stared at the screen for a bit, then let it go dark. A message popped up right away. "Amelia, darling, is the power out? Can you check for us? It's such a critical day." I put my tea down. A dry laugh just came out. "Darling," the same sweet tone. Like the whole conversation where Dad disowned me never happened. Like I hadn't just been told I was too embarrassing to show up at their house. The house I'd been helping pay for. Then Dad's text came. "Utilities down. No water, no internet. Check payment status immediately. Mother is distressed. This is unacceptable. Short. Cold." No concern about me. No mention of why I wasn't there. Just a command. Like I was still just a handy helper for logistics. I sighed. Nearly 3 years. Never missed a payment. And I cut it all off that night, right after Dad hung up, and basically said I was too hard to introduce. And now, on the exact day Serafina was showing off her partner, their house was a mess. No power, no water, no internet. Just exactly what was going to happen. By noon, the messages were flooding in. A total panic storm. "Mom, Amelia, please, I'm begging you. Guests are here. Just fix this, just this once." Dad, "Power is out. We can't proceed." "Where are you? Handle this now." Serafina, "Amelia, seriously? Today's the day. Reese is here. Mother's a wreck. There's no internet. I can't even call anyone. Stop being so incredibly selfish." I leaned back. My tea was cold. The texts didn't make me feel good. Didn't make me feel like I'd won. It was just emptiness. This quiet, solid emptiness. Then the phone buzzed again. A video call. From Aunt Carol. The only one who still sent weird little holiday messages sometimes, even though I hardly ever replied. I hesitated. Then I answered. Her kitchen came into view, dimly lit just by a phone flashlight. She looked tired. Her eyes looked a bit red. "Amelia, darling," she said softly. "Your mother is quite distraught. The house is dark. Everyone's running around, and no one seems to know what to do." "Just observing," I said. My voice felt flat. She paused, looking at me. Not blaming, just asking. "What? What happened? You've never missed your mother's birthday? Whatever your reasons, surely you could say something." I took a deep breath, kept my voice steady. "Father told me my presence was an embarrassment," I stated plainly. "Demanded I not call him father if I insisted on coming. What? What response did you expect after that, Aunt Carol?" Aunt Carol froze. Her face just changed, instantly. In the background, I could hear the noise getting louder. Mum's voice sharp now. "She's just being difficult, sulking somewhere. No daughter could be this cruel." Then Serafina's voice, even sharper, full of frantic anger. "Serafina, Reese is practically here. Someone called the power company. I cannot believe she chose today." A quiet, empty smile touched my lips. Aunt Carol heard everything. She didn't say anything back, didn't try to defend anyone. She just stayed silent, her eyes wide with shock. Then, weirdly, the screen shifted. A new face. Reese. Same perfect suit, same calm look as in his profile picture. He stared at the screen. His eyes went wide. "Amelia? Amelia Vance? You are Amelia Vance? From Global Neural Healthcare Innovations Group?" he blurted out. It wasn't a question, more like disbelief. I just nodded, looked him right in the eye. A long, stunned silence. Over there, in their kitchen. Then Reese turned, looking at everyone in the room. She, he announced, his voice clear, like he was just stating a fact, but laced with total shock. She's my direct superior, my boss, the co-founder who approved my transfer to Seattle. Total, breathless silence. Serafina's jaw just dropped. My parents froze solid. Nobody said a single word. Calmly, I said, I trust your introduction to Reese is proceeding smoothly. Then I ended the call. After that call, I just put my phone down. Didn't say anything else. Outside my window, the grey afternoon light was faint through the misty clouds. Everything in my place was so quiet, it felt almost unreal. No frantic voices, no angry follow-up texts, no calls, just me. And this strange, light feeling of relief. The truth came out, not because I yelled it, but because they were forced to see it. I didn't need to expose anyone. I just stayed quiet and let things happen the way they were always meant to. Reese confirmed it clearly. I was his boss, the co-founder of the company they thought I was just some nobody typing away in. In that moment, my family's kitchen became this stage, and all their carefully built masks just fell off, one by one, and nobody could stop it. And Serafina, my sister, the one who once whispered to Mom that Amelia should get a job that's a less obscure, easier to explain. She was standing there, frozen, next to a birthday cake that hadn't even been lit yet. She tried so hard to impress Reese with fake compliments and this perfect family picture. But in the end, it was that very guy who called me boss, right in front of everyone. I could picture the whole scene like I was watching it on repeat. My mother, so flustered she almost dropped the cake. My father, face red as a beet, gripping the table edge. And the relatives, you know? The ones who only show up for the free food and to pass judgment, sitting there in total shock, eyes darting around, trying to figure out what just happened. And Aunt Carol, her call was still on. Her look wasn't just curious anymore. It was something closer to awe, maybe even respect. She didn't say much, just gave me this little nod before she hung up. That evening, Serafina's first message came through. Long, messy, full of furious anger and total panic. You knew. All along, didn't you? You planned this, didn't you? Right during the party. Mother is hysterical. Reese is speechless. How could you be so utterly vicious, Amelia? I watched the message pop up, but didn't open it right away. I made some ginger tea and just sat on the couch, letting the steam warm up my throat. I didn't feel happy or like I'd won, but I didn't feel guilty either. About 10 minutes later, I finally replied. Just a few lines. Didn't need more. Cruel. I was at home. I initiated nothing. I merely answered a call. If a single truth, that I am the co-founder of my company, your partner's superior, was enough to dismantle your evening, perhaps its foundation was never as solid as you believed. I hit send. Wasn't waiting for her reply. Half an hour later, my phone buzzed again. Mum this time. The message was short, sharp. I never imagined you would resort to such tactics, to punish us. I closed my eyes and leaned back. Punish? Is that how they saw it? I just remembered being told I couldn't come home because I wasn't impressive enough to introduce. I remembered quietly paying bills, nearly $19,000, for almost 3 years without anyone ever asking if I was okay. I remembered trying so hard for so long, just to be seen, to be accepted, to be loved. And in that moment, that ache I always carried, it just faded away, replaced by this quiet certainty. I was done trying. Around 10 p.m., an email came from Reese. Amelia, I must apologize. I had no idea. I am profoundly impressed by your work and the composure you displayed. I have rarely felt such disorientation, but not because of you. I read it, replied slowly. Reese, there is no need for an apology. Each of us is accountable for the perspectives we choose to hold. Rest assured, professional matters remain separate. But perhaps, yes, you now understand that true strength often resides not in pronouncements, but in quiet truth. I hit send, turned off my screen, put the phone face down. Tomorrow, I'd go to the office, same as always. Reports to read, meetings to get ready for. The world's still turning. Only now, one thing was different. Starting today, they, the ones who acted like I was nobody, finally knew exactly who I was. And without yelling, without accusing, I had managed to silence them. The next morning, walking into my office, the light through the windows was soft and golden. The air was calm, quiet, like the world was giving me a few minutes to just breathe before everything started up. I sat down, turned on my computer, opened email. In the imported box, one new message from Reese Davis. Clicked it open. Subject, clarification and conclusion. Amelia, this is difficult. What happened last night? It was a shock. Maybe not the best way for things to come out, but it brought this really clear understanding, especially about everything. I'm not embarrassed that you're Serafina's sister. I'm embarrassed that I didn't see who Serafina really was sooner. I can't be in a relationship where there's no basic respect. So, as of today, Serafina and I are done. Thank you for staying silent yesterday. And thank you for the way you lead. Quiet, but strong and fair. Reese, I read it twice. Leaned back in my chair. I didn't feel happy that Serafina got dumped, but I felt something right. Like, finally, someone outside that family bubble actually saw the reality I'd been living with for years. The stuff they told me I was too sensitive about, or too cold for not making a fuss over. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. But a few hours later, while I was looking over some reports, my phone lit up. Message from Serafina. Amelia, I know you're busy, but please, you have to talk to Reese for me. He's misunderstanding everything. I just looked at the message, felt this quiet tiredness. Didn't reply right away. Less than 5 minutes later, another one. You're his boss. His boss. You have influence. If you just say something, he'll reconsider. I got up and walked to the window, looked down at the street. All those years, I just wished so badly for just one message from Serafina, just asking how I was. A single word of encouragement when things were tough. But there was nothing. And now, when her relationship blew up, she came to me, not to apologize, to get me to fix it for her. I went back to my desk, typed. Reese's decision was not influenced by me. He chose based on his perception of you. Perhaps, for the first time, that perception aligned with reality. She didn't reply right away. About an hour later, a new message came. You're right, but I don't want to lose him. I can change. Please, Amelia, just help me this once. I didn't answer. Not because I was angry, because I was just past it, past explaining. When I left the office that evening, the spring air was still cool, but the sunset was painting the sky bright orange. I walked to the parking lot slowly. No hurry, no knot of worry in my stomach. Maybe, for the first time in years, I felt truly light. I hadn't tried to get back at them. I had just lived my life, told my truth quietly, and let everything else show itself. Serafina created her own ending. And Reese, who was so impressed by the idea of her perfect family, finally saw what was really underneath. What I'd lived with my whole life. That night, I put on an old playlist, the kind of music that used to make me feel invisible back when I was just starting the company. But tonight, the song sounded like this quiet confirmation. I'd stepped out of the shadows, not by shouting, but by standing firm. And that's what Serafina, or anyone else in my family, never saw coming. I didn't need them to tell me I was valuable anymore. I just needed to be myself and live the life I actually deserved. A couple weeks later, things had quieted down. It was a Sunday afternoon, and I was actually managing not to touch my laptop. Then the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, almost ignored it. But something made me look through the peephole. My parents, standing on my porch steps. I froze for a few seconds, just staring. My mother had this small bag. Her face looked tired. My father had his arms crossed, his look not as harsh as that phone call, but still, hard. I opened the door. Didn't say a word. "Amelia, dear," Mum said first. Her voice was thin, raspy. "May we come in and talk for a bit?" I just stepped aside silently. Let them in. No hugs, no fake pleasantries. Just this heavy, awkward silence all the way to the living room. I poured some water, put the glasses down, and sat across from them. Mum's eyes darted around my place. It's simple, tidy. Nothing in it that came from them. Dad spoke first. "Regarding your mother's birthday," he started. His voice was low. I said things I regret. I stayed quiet, just watched him. He looked at me, then kept going. Slower this time. Perhaps we haven't always been as understanding as we should. Serafina, she's been quite fragile since the breakup. Your mother is distressed. We thought it was time we spoke. As a family. I still didn't say anything, just nodded a little. I wanted to see where this was going. I knew the drill, the long setup before they get to the real reason they showed up. Yep, just as I expected. Mum jumped right in. "Well, dear, we actually have a proposition." She hesitated. Then she put the bag on the coffee table and pulled out a piece of paper. "We've given this considerable thought. You're established now, dear. Your work is clearly lucrative. We were hoping you might help. A monthly contribution, perhaps. Around $2,000. Just to ease things, cover some expenses, ensure a bit of security." I looked up at her. $2,000 a month. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dad quickly jumped in, like I didn't understand how little that was for someone in my position. "It's hardly significant for someone in your position, Amelia. We're family." I sat up straighter, kept my voice steady. "And Serafina? How is she contributing?" Mum hesitated. She's not coping well. The breakup, her work situation. We can't pressure her right now." A quiet, dry laugh escaped me. Not angry, just... I knew this story. Serafina, always too delicate to be pressured. Me, always able to handle whatever load they piled on. I looked them both right in the eye. "Here is my proposal. If Serafina agrees to contribute her share, $1,000. Mum's eyes went wide. "And," I continued, my voice clear, leaving no room for misunderstanding, "a formal agreement, a legal document stating that upon your passing, all remaining assets, including the house, will transfer solely to me." Silence. Heavy. You could hear the air conditioner hum. Dad's face just darkened, turned red. His hand slammed down on the coffee table, hard. The glasses rattled. Are you seriously proposing terms to your own parents?" I didn't flinch. Not conditions, I stated calmly. Principles. My voice got stronger. I have poured nearly $19,000 into this family's stability over the last almost 3 years, without a single acknowledgement, without anyone ever asking if I was okay. If this is going to continue, things need to be clear and fair. Mom turned to Dad, her voice shaky. Arthur, perhaps we should discuss this. But he stood up fast, glared down at me. His face twisted with rage. We raised you, sacrificed for you, for over 2 decades. And now, when we ask for a simple contribution, you demand a contract. Unbelievable. I stayed seated, looked right up at him. Father, I said. My voice was low, but it had absolute conviction. I do not owe you. If you think raising me was some kind of investment that needs a return, we can indeed figure out every single cost, every sacrifice you think you made. But I will not pay for it with my silence. Not anymore. He looked like he wanted to yell more, maybe accuse me of everything wrong in the world. But he just froze, jaw clenched, eyes burning. But no words came out. Mum stood up and gently pulled his arm. Let's go, Arthur. I stood up too. Walked them to the door. No hugs, no goodbyes. Just the sound of the door closing behind them. In the quiet of my apartment, with the breeze coming in from the balcony, I knew. Another chapter closed. And this time, I was the one who wrote the final line. After that day, my parents never called again. No messages, no accusations, not even a fake apology for yelling at me in my own home. It was like, in their minds, everything bad that ever happened was somehow my fault because I was a difficult daughter. But I wasn't surprised. I'd gotten used to that kind of silence. The kind that doesn't come from feeling bad or guilty, but just from people who don't know what to do or say when they're not in control anymore. I just kept living my life. Quiet mornings with my coffee, important meetings that ran late, signing deals with people who probably doubted this young woman could run an AI company at first. And through it all, that old guilt, it just faded away. I stopped thinking I was wrong for saying no, for not being their backup wallet, their automatic helper, just because I could handle things. Because eventually, you learn. Love isn't just about money going one way. It's not something you can force out of duty. If someone only cares when you're paying their bills, that's not family. That's just a transaction. I started cutting those invisible ties, the roles they'd put me in. I changed my phone wallpaper from that old family picture. I didn't even remember when Serafina's birthday was anymore. Didn't make a note to send a little something for holidays. I stopped staring at messages trying to figure out how to fix things. I learned to put the end punctuation myself, to finish the sentence, instead of waiting for them to maybe, possibly start with an apology someday. Sometime later at work, Rhys Davies, who was officially head of technology strategy, now came into a meeting with a report. He was professional, focused, always kept things business only with me. We never talked about Serafina, not once, and I appreciated that. Some things, once you totally understand them, don't need any more words. One cool afternoon, leaving the office, it was drizzling a little. I stopped at this cafe I like, got a seat by the window. On the wall, there was this carved wooden sign. Home isn't always a structure. Sometimes it's simply a choice. I sat there, sipping my hot latte, thinking about everything. There was a time I really believed if I just stayed quiet enough, nice enough, responsible enough, they'd eventually let me all the way in. But the hard truth, if you let people get used to treating you with less respect than you deserve, they start seeing your kindness as something they're owed, and your silence as you agreeing to it. I chose to stand up, not to fight them, but to protect myself, to claim my own space. I set boundaries, not because I'm selfish, but because I finally understood my own worth isn't some flexible thing that changes based on someone else's mood or sudden needs. And if someone ever asks me, "Amelia, do you regret not helping your parents when they were in a bind?" my answer is clear. I regret that it took me so long to realize I deserve so much more than what they were offering. Because real family sees all of you, your whole person, not just a wallet, not just a stand-in, not just a last-ditch backup plan for people who always put you last. I know my story might be tough for some people to hear. In a lot of places, turning away from family duty is seen as really ungrateful. But seriously, try putting yourself in my shoes for a minute. The daughter told she wasn't good enough to introduce. The one who paid thousands and thousands, silently, and never once heard. Are you okay? Are you right? I didn't choose family the way they defined it. I chose myself. So, what do you think? Was I out of line? Or was it just time to finally learn how to love myself? It's a heavy thing, I know. But sometimes, sharing your story or hearing someone else's can be the light someone needs when they're stuck between feeling obligated and needing to be free. And if you've ever felt totally alone, even in your own family, you're definitely not the only one. Amelia's story is a strong reminder that you don't owe it to anyone to sacrifice yourself for a relationship that just has the word family attached to it, but doesn't have the respect and real care that should go with it. When you learn to set those boundaries, when you choose to value yourself and stop letting people just take your kindness for granted, that's not being selfish. That's just growing. What's your take? Was Amelia too harsh? Or was she just protecting herself after years of being hurt?